Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Birds on a Blue Note. We're going to do a late night special here on some prospect talk. My name is RJ. As people in the Bleach Report community know me as Raptor Jesus. We have Wacky Zach here. I'll let you lead it off. Talk about who you want to talk about.
So I went to the Springfield Cardinal good night with Tekoah Roby pitching. So that's the first guy I really want to touch on. Uh, the stats don't really back up how good he really pitched tonight. He had given two home runs. One was a solo shot in the first, and a two-run shot that was freaking tattooed by Emmanuel Rodriguez, the Twins' top prospect. But beyond that, the dude really bounced back well. He's touching 94, 97. Uh, had some control issues, but about 80 pitches through five solid innings and handed it over to Granillo. And that's really the next guy I wanted to talk about is Andre Granillo. That's the 27th ranked prospect for us on the MLB pipeline. Uh, super underrated. He's a multi-inning reliever. Goes about 98, has a strong cutter, a Vulcan change type grip.
Vulcan.
Really good.
That's the thing about like some of these prospects sometimes is like even if they're not like a highly touted one, if you look at like sorry, my cat just jumped up on my table and knocked over a bunch of stuff. If you heard that. But like if you look at like a Tommy Edman, he wasn't a top 10 guy and he's like an invaluable piece of this team. Or like even like a Lars Nootbaar or Brendan Donovan.
That's
People
yeah,
Donovan may be one of the best like he's one of the hardest at bats in baseball right now. And he was what, like a 16th ranked prospect for us?
stuff like
Like
that. I remember I saw him in Double A, and I didn't see that was the biggest swing and miss. I remember I looked at my wife and I literally said, "That's the difference between a major leager and a minor leaguer." And I
like
pointed
a
out
Brendan Donovan,
C.J.
yeah.
Abrams. And it was C.J.
Oh
Abrams and
no.
Brendan Donovan at second. And I was like, "That's the difference." Like, look at just watch him play. And at the time, it seemed right. It just that's didn't age well.
Yeah, you never know how these guys are gonna grow into like their future. But yeah, Tekoah Roby is someone that I really like too. He came over what in the was it the Montgomery trade? Uh,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
yeah, he's like even that's the thing about some of these minor leaguers. Like you don't really look at results so much, especially early on, as you do is like the process. And when you throw in 97, 98 consistently, like multi innings, and he had like a major swing and miss, like four seamer, or major swing and miss slider like he does. I mean, that's something you project into the future. Like this can be a guy like Jordan Hicks before he was traded away. He was like another guy who was like a 20th ranked prospect, but he threw
Right.
100 miles an hour. So that's the kind of things you look for in some of these guys, where it's just like, what do they project as? Like not what they are right now, but like in the future, like what can they be? Um,
And right now, the big part is mental too. I want to point out with Tekoah Roby, he gave him two home runs, which was all the other runs he gave up, two scorchers, but he struck out the next batter and after both home runs. So dude bounces back well. He didn't let it get in his head. Immediately threw first pitch strike, and I think it was a five pitch strikeout, a three pitch strikeout immediately after. So I mean, that's that's big things I look at for a 21-year-old pitcher in Double A.
for sure. Yeah, and it shows strong mental fortitude. Early on, like if you're like an early 2010s card fan and you were watching Lance Lynn when he first came up, he was famous for what we called the Linning. So like he would give up that first like maybe blooper bleeder and then give up home run, single home run. And it just kind of is stockpiled, and sometimes obviously he's a horse now. You saw what he did against the Dodgers. He bases loaded, no outs, and then struck out the next three. But that's something like that's invaluable. If you can learn that early on, how to be able to just work through those early struggles and not lose your composure, that's great. And that's something as you were saying, Tekoah Roby showed earlier today. A guy I want to bring up, and I brought this guy up last time, so I sound like a broken record. It's Tink Hence. He had another phenomenal start. Five
I could
more
not
innings,
bring him up.
5 more innings, one run, five more Ks. He only walked one. I think he only gave up like two hits. Like this is He's consistently dotting 97, 98, wipeout slider. Um, this is the
The
kind of guy,
swagger's there too.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he has this strut. Yeah.
This is a guy that you can project as a frontline starter. Like, and I know we've talked about this a lot in Cards Nation is like we've had trouble like getting a guy or developing an arm to be like a front. Like we like Flaherty didn't work out and Reyes didn't work out and Martinez didn't work out. This is the kind of guy like that you look at in the minors, like he's got everything you would want from a frontline starter. It's just developing him and keeping him on that path. And we don't,
And bulk him up a little bit.
yep, bulk bulk him up, build up his stamina a bit, like so he throws more than 5 innings at a time. But like right now he's at 10 innings on the season. It's early on, 10 innings, and he's only giving up one run. He's only giving up
One
the
walk.
one walk, and that was the thing from in the past is a control. And he's shown a lot more control early on this season. He's got the swing and miss. We've always known he's had the swing and miss. It's like, can he hit the strike zone consistently enough to keep the batters honest, to like keep them looking like at anything close and maybe flailing at the stuff, that just misses a little bit. Um, I know you really like Cesar Prado too, so I'm gonna let you take that away.
The dude has done nothing but hit since we got him last year. So he went straight to AAA at MASH, and then so far this year he's done at 354 average, 994 OPS, a couple of bombs. I think weirdly, I don't think he has hit a double yet, but the dude is absolutely scorching the ball. Yeah, one double. He has first double today with 3 hits. So he has one double in the year with 4 home runs. But so I think he's Luis Ariz, a little bit less speed, but that similar type of mold. He's not going to strike out a whole bunch. Gets good at bats. And he really just sprays the ball. But he's hitting the ball with authority right now. I know it's a
Yeah,
guy
for
you
sure.
like as well.
I think that's the thing that surprised me about him too, is like he did not project as like a power guy at all. And like even if he doesn't continue to like hit the ball at this like launch angle, I guess, with this much power consistently, it was more like the bat to ball skills that was more intriguing. Like kind of like similar to like an Alec Burleson. He's like and I know a lot of people are not fans of Burleson. I personally love Burleson. He's got some of the better bat to ball skills in baseball, I
You
think.
hit the ball hard,
But
good things are going to happen.
you hit the
Like,
ball. The Babbitt guys are not fans of Alec Burleson. He's been cursed by someone. Like someone did like a voodoo ritual on him where like he's just gonna line it like scorchers to every fielder on the other
right.
side. But the bat to ball skills are there, and he's getting under the ball enough to where he's actually hitting some out. Like you were mentioning in 4 home runs, it's super impressive. This is not the type of guy you would expect to do that. He doesn't have the frame for that. He usually typically doesn't have the power to that, but like he's got the bat to ball skills where like if he can figure this out, he can be kind of like a Jose Altuve type, like smaller stature guy with a little bit of pop and just great bat to ball skills. Um, I mean, between him and Sajasi and Roby, who you mentioned earlier, like, I feel like last season we really killed it at the deadline. We got a lot of like super high end guys that may
Yeah, I don't
not.
have a whole lot on him, but it's actually Showalter is another dude who's like super, super high upside. And he's done really, really well so far. But that's another guy just to throw in there that's make a big impact. And I think he's only like 19 or 20. But,
I mean, for sure, like you look at what we were able to bring in last year, and like in a lot in what we would call lost season, and the first like really lost season we've had in like almost 30 years. Um, we brought in a lot of guys who are like our top 10 guys for us now. We can project like even if they don't make the majors for us, like they continue to do what they're doing in the minors right now, they're gonna hold value. And like say we continue to contend this year, we're close and we need like another frontline starter. Maybe we need another bat, just hopefully not. Hopefully the offense figures it out. Um, but say we need something like that. These are guys that are going to be intriguing to other teams who need that kind of like minor league, like middle infielder or like high end, maybe future starter, like a Hence, which I wouldn't trade, but like you never know. It's just keep doing well. And like I think we really killed it at the deadline last, like between Prado and JC and Roby. And Cloffinstein's the guy that we didn't really talk about too much, but he's a guy that could be someone too. He could be like a mid rotation innings eater type guy
right.
also. But let's talk about some of the high end guys. Like we drafted Chase Davis first round last year. He kind of had a disappointing minor league debut season, but this
Right.
year he's killing it. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. He's almost at a 200 WRC plus right now. He's driving the ball to all fields. He's hitting it with authority. He's hitting it like the potential middle order bat that we wanted him to be when we drafted him. I'm interested in your thoughts on him, Zach. This is someone I'm really
So
high
the
on for you are as well.
right, the big thing with him to point out is the fact that he struggled terribly. And he been putting the work on stuff that was beating him in the offseason. He changed his whole stride. He wouldn't have had that Carlos Gonzalez, that over exaggerated, like foot out over the plate stride to he closed that off. He's not really doing that big one hand, just try to power the bat through. It's more of a two-hand finish, and obviously it's working. So 280 average, 1,000 OPS, already a couple bombs. I know half the Bleacher Report community was already out on him. I know most Cardinal fans were just a
Oh,
lot
this
of
is good
people. I
for
remember
us.
thinking were
Yeah, no, for
overdrafted,
sure.
and they thought he was overdrafted in the first place. So whenever you see that and the stats don't back it up right away, you get nervous. But I, the biggest thing I love about him is he got beat, he wouldn't put in the work, and he got better.
For sure. And then, like it's process of results too. I feel like a lot of times is that you got to be patient with
Sure.
some of these, especially when they're in minors. Like, who cares like what their minor league stats are? This is the guy that you want. Like, if he's gonna fail, you want him to fail here, and you want him to be able to figure it out. That way, when he gets to the majors or when he's close to the majors, he knows what to fix. Like he knows what he needs to work on.
Right, and he
Um,
played at Arizona State, so I mean, it's not like he was playing at Vanderbilt. I mean, that makes a difference. The level of
a
competition that
Wake
he's facing
Forest,
is a little bit
that are just
different.
loaded on the pitching and the hitting side. Oh my God.
Right. So the competition he was facing, like of course, once he goes and plays pro ball for the first time after 3 weeks before that, he was facing college or 3 months really before that, he's facing college guys. It's not really the same thing. So yeah, I just really love the bounce back from him.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like between him and like a Juan Ben Cho and like someone who else, another guy that's struggling right now, but like has super, super high ceiling is like a Josh Baez.
Oh
Um,
right.
we drafted him in the second round, but we like overslotted for him. We paid extra to get him there. I mean, there's so much potential in the future, like Cards Outfield between them three, and like we see Victor Scott right now, who's already in the majors. He's struggling a bit. I mean, let's be fair, but I'd rather them like struggle early on, and then be able to
Look at
figure it
Mason
out
Wynn.
and what they need to work on.
Right. Mason Wynn's a good example of that, man. I mean, I, again, everybody was writing off Mason Wynn the entire offseason. The dude doesn't really do much more than just slow the game down,
He's
get a
hitting
little bit more
350.
comfortable. And now he's hitting 350. And he didn't really do a whole lot different other than just slow the game down. He didn't stop trying to do so much. Like sometimes you have to go to the majors and struggle, or go play pro ball and struggle, and go to the lab and fix it. Like it doesn't mean that
Sometimes you
Victor
almost
Scott's broken. It's 50% of the game's half mental. Like it's a mental
100%.
game. So
It's 90% mental, 10% physical ability, and you already have the 10% to get there because that's how you made it.
right,
The rest is mental.
especially Scott.
Yep. I mean, he's got all the talent in the world. Unbelievable talent. I mean, like, I wish he would have stayed pitching personally, but yeah, I mean, the guy's just an elite shortstop. He's going to win a
No, for
lot of
sure.
gold gloves in the future. We're getting a little off topic.
No, 100%. But the next thing I want to jump on is Jimmy Crooks. I think he is our 11th ranked prospect. We drafted him 2 years ago. Last year was his first year in single A, hit 12 home runs. He's been known to be glove over bat, but the bat's really, really impressive. He's done nothing but hit since we drafted him. He crushed the ball at Oklahoma, and the dude's a dog. Like you could see that even when you were watching him. He's got some fire. He loves being back there. Has a cannon. Receives pretty well, and he's hitting 409 with 895 OPS. And I'll just mention real quick, Springfield's 8-0. There's a lot of really really good players that are like Ramon Mendoza types guys that we've had in our system for a while. They're 25, 26, but are just hitting. Half of our lineup was hitting over 350. It seemed like it was absolutely crazy. But Jimmy Crook
Yeah,
is
we
going to
used
be
to call it the
really really
Memphis
good.
Mafia, but maybe it's the Springfield Mafia these days because they got
Right.
them and they got Tink Hence down there, and then I think they got RJ Yeager too, who's one of the better names in the system. Is RJ? That's not.
Right.
Yeah, it's a great name. A lot of guys who are doing a lot of good things down there. To hop back up to AAA a little bit. This is a guy that we were kind of a lot of us did not project very high of. It's Michael McGreevy, former first
Right.
rounder. When we drafted him, he was kind of like the old way of drafting like Bree Flores, of just like drafting like MLB ready talent as opposed to high end ceiling, like as opposed to like a Walker Gorman. But I mean, the dude shoved. He pitched almost 7 innings earlier today, yesterday, whatever you want to call it. No runs, 4 Ks, no walks. I mean, you can't really ask for any more. You pitch 7 innings, you give up no runs. I mean, that's a win. Yeah, like you did everything possible to help your team win. Like you literally cannot do better. No runs is
Right.
it gets.
of course. Yeah,
Um,
especially pitching into the seventh. I mean, it's
100%. Yeah. And like I know people gave Kyle Gibson shit last week just to kind of give that perspective, but like the guy pitched 6 innings and he gave up 6 runs. All right, well, McGrady pitched 7 innings and gave up none. So
right.
better. I mean, that's what you want. Like imagine like 7 innings and then you go maybe not yesterday Gio who gave up a bunch of runs, but like earlier season Gio who gives up none, and Helsley, like even if you score
Hit
one,
rich.
you win. So like yeah, this is a guy a lot of people didn't project very high. This is like what a lot of people thought would be a mid-rotation type arm. And maybe he still is, but he's making the most of his opportunities, like trying to show why he was a first rounder. He continues to pitch like this, especially in AAA, where there's like a lot of high-end prospects who just crush. Um, that's great, and you want to see that from him, like
Right.
especially someone like him, who you don't expect that from. So like, because even if they don't mean that much to us, because like personally, like I'm a big Tink Hence, Gordon Graceffo guy. Maybe another team will look at him as like, yeah, McGreevy, that's someone we like. We'll give you a high end reliever for the back end of your bullpen, or we'll give you like a mid rotation starter for like the stretch run. Um, that is impressive. You can't do better than no runs. Like big, like
Right, 1%. And
impressive.
speaking of highly ranked guy or not highly ranked guys, it's Quinn Matthews, the man, the myth, the legend. The dude threw 16 innings for Stanford in the College World Series last year, and about made half of the internet piss their pants and started trying to fire their manager and stuff. That was
Yeah, he
a
was like
big,
what,
big,
close to
big
200
thing.
pitches or something insane like that. It was ridiculous.
But rubber arm, dude. But
Yeah.
his two starts since he's in pro ball. His first start was 3 innings, 6 Ks. He had 4 walks. So I mean, had some control issues there. But the next game followed up with 5 innings, 11 Ks with 1 walk. So there's not really a more impressive start to pro ball than that from anybody that we've drafted in a while. That's really impressive to do in your first 2 starts.
I mean, that's yeah, for real. That's amazing. And hopefully he can keep that up and not have to get Tommy John in the future. You always worry about those guys that like overthrow early on. But I mean,
But he's not a big velocity guy. Like when you watch him, he doesn't really sit super super high with the fastball, and for the most part, you can kind of understand why he is able to do that if you just watch his pitching style. He's thrown 91, 92. It's a lot of
he's
off speed stuff. He just kind
hitter
of
versus
location
thrower.
over.
That's
Right.
the old
And
argument. Like Maddox never blew people away with stuff. He just knew how to pitch. Um, no, that's impressive, and I feel like that's something we definitely need. Like also, is just like people who can like teach how to pitch. Who will come in and know like where to spot, as opposed to just blow your arm out throwing 99, 100. Um,
right, 100%. Just knowing that he has that kind of stuff in the tank, it shows. I mean, he didn't pitch a single game after that for the rest of the year, to be clear as well. So I don't want to talk about that game. Like the dude can go out there and throw 125 pitches, and he's good to come back in 5 days and throw another 125, 150 pitches. It was the last game of the College World Series. He was a senior. He didn't pitch another game with us after we drafted him. So there's that to put on it. But that's again 40%, 4% chase rate in his final season in college as well. So he's not throwing more than 91, 92, but the dude gets a ton of swing and miss.
yeah, and that's awesome. Like that's something we're kind of starving for right now is pitching. So I'm between like him and Roby and Hens and Graceffo and Greavy. At least a couple of these guys has to work out, right? Like that's the law of averages, right? Like, one or two of them is gonna
Right.
work out. It has to. I mean, it's not gonna keep going the way it has. I know we've had some bum luck with like a Reyes and like a Martinez and a Flaherty, but like to go like 0-4
Walker even to
this
an
many,
extent.
like especially this, like there's a lot of high end arms in the system right now, and they may not be like super high nationally ranked or like super high even in our own system, but like we were speaking about earlier, like Donovan wasn't highly ranked, and like a lot of people would argue he's our best hitter. Same thing with Newbar, he wasn't highly ranked. Tommy Edman
Right.
was,
We didn't mention Ian Bedell.
yeah,
Ian
and
Bedell's another guy who's middle ranked, and he's done nothing but really pitch well the last 2 seasons since we had him. So
yeah,
three
even like
seasons.
some like Cooper Herpy, like the results aren't there yet, and like don't get me wrong, you want results. But at the end of the day, when it comes to these young guys, you're looking at process and stuff versus results. And like Cooper Herpy, he's only pitched a few innings so far, but he's got like 14 Ks per nine. And that's what you're looking for at the major league level. You're looking for major swing and miss, especially like someone like who may project as like a back end reliever or like a
Right.
closer in the future. You want that swing and miss. Like games on the line, you have bases loaded, one out, two out, you want to strike out. And that's the type of guy that can provide that for you. And like it's invaluable. And even if it's someone
Right.
we don't keep, like we mentioned earlier, it's like someone else is going to want that. And then maybe we could flip that for something we need. You never know. There's a lot of guys right now that are
Yeah.
dudes and are on
I'll
our
mention one more. Just and I've been really high on him since last year. It's Max Rajic. Last year he had 23 starts with a 2.48 ERA. I mean, 23 strikeouts, 123 innings, and so far this year, a 1.80 ERA, three strikeouts and five innings, just one start. But he's already flown up to Double A in just his second pro season. There's another one, Bryson Mounts. Pretty much the exact same guy, just left-handed. Just a really, really great first year of the system. I wouldn't be surprised if those dudes kind of fly through, but they're a lot of contact guys that super high strikeout. But I mean, you
yes,
can't
swing and
deny
miss.
those
And
numbers.
that's the
No,
game right now. Like it's a 3-true outcome game right now. It's like walk home run
right.
or like walk slug or K. And like you want to stack up in your system as many guys who are going to get that K as possible. Um, to flip on the other side, another guy that we didn't really talk about, and I know we kind of have this Goldie dilemma, if you want to call it that. What's the future at first base look like? Is it going to be Burleson? Is it going to be Walker? Is he going to move to first? Or are we going to sign someone? Lucan Baker, he's slugging. He's already got 3 home runs in the season. It's early and he's hitting them over the wall. And like you want your first baseman to have pop. That like them and like corner outfield. Those are the guys you want them to hit them over the fence. And it's good that we have a guy who can project and do that like 20 to 30 to maybe 40 times a year early on. Um, the rest of his stats are not following along yet with the power, but you know, it's early. Um,
The only problem I have with him is like body type. It's like, is he even going to be able to get the at bats until Goldie gets hurt or he's gone to be able to really make an impact? He's 6'5" and what, like 280 or something crazy. He's a
hey
big dude.
man,
There's no
as a
way he's
big guy myself, you want the power. The power comes from somewhere, and maybe it's a
for
little bit
sure,
of
but
the
where's he going to get at bats except for DH, which is we have five guys who can DH right now in first base for goalie pretty much plays every game. So
sure. I
that's
mean,
where I worry
that's a
about him. Is
good
just
problem to
it's
have, right? Like we have a lot of guys who can
right.
really hit. We need to find the playing time for. So like usually those kinds of things figure themselves out in the long run. Um, they always kind of historically have either whether hopefully we don't trade the wrong guy, but you know, like there's
Right.
a lot of good hitters right now on the major league roster and like between like someone we didn't even talk about is JC who just like lit the world on fire last year after we acquired him and he's been like historically his whole minor league career he's just done nothing but hit. He's another guy. He's another middle infielder, you know, between him and Donovan and Gorman and Edmund who's going to come back. We got so many middle infielders that are like, we're drowning in middle infielders. Um, there's a lot of potential there. Like, I think we'll figure it out. Like, uh, yeah, there's a lot to look forward to.
What's really fun is how young we are, and our top four prospects right now all have ETAs. I mean, top projection, but for this 2024, and they're all those guys are 23 or younger. I know Victor Scott's included on that. Obviously he's already
Yeah,
here,
he's on
so
the
it's still
majors. Yeah.
CAC, Roby, and Hence all have a chance to make an impact, at least in the bullpen by the end of the year.
Same with
All
Graceffo, too.
young,
Like,
early 20s. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Like this team could really turn around it. I don't think many Cardinal fans are really thinking of it that way because we're still kind of trying, and we still have Goldie and Nato, but we're really kind of turning around a really big youth movement where we could really swing into a different generation really, really quickly without even realizing it. If that makes sense. It was
Yeah,
really kind of seamless
the
with just
next
one
era of
down
Cardinals
year last year, and then now
baseball.
this year's
100%. You're right. Nice era of Cards baseball is already here. Like aside from like Goldie and Arnado, it's already here. We had 4 guys who were 24 years or younger who were on the opening day roster. And we had another couple guys who are only 26, 27 who were like between like Newt, like who was on the injured. But like Donovan was like what he's
Donnie.
27.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's we've really
Yeah.
like embraced this youth movement and for the future and like we don't know what's gonna happen with Goldie. I love Goldie. Like I'm not gonna be shy. I love Goldie. I hope he figures it out. Like he's struggling right now.
Nick Kurtz.
I hope he figures. Yeah, we already had that conversation. Nick Kurtz has been lighting the world on fire over over at Wake Forest. Um, I hope he figures it out. But like if
Oh,
not,
for sure.
it's not doom and gloom. There's like a lot of potential there. We could draft a Kurtz or like Pete Alonso's a free agent. And I know that's not prospect talk. Or like Murakami over from Japan is a free he's talking
I
about
don't think there's a chance in hell Alonso comes here. Just after it seems like there's a
the
little bit of
whole
beef,
the whole win
but
thing. I would never say never,
yeah,
I would never I would have said that about Contreras a
my
couple weeks
talks.
ago.
So
So you never know. But yeah, and like aside from like the prospect talk, like we have a lot of money falling off our payroll in the next couple of years. So like a couple of these guys, like a Walker or like a Win, would be good guys to lock up for the long-term future to kind of build around. And that way we could bring up a Hence and they won't have as much pressure or like a Graceffo or like a Herpy or like a Tekoah Roby. Uh,
Davis or Chase Davis,
or Chase Davis or Juan Ben Cho.
That's part of next year.
Cho's
Looking
another
forward to
guy
for
that
sure.
just hits the ball really freaking hard and he doesn't have the results yet. But like you look at the process and you look at the mechanics and look at the swing, you're like, this dude
Swing, so such a sweet swing. Yeah,
looks like a major leaguer. Like he just needs to once he gets the numbers, he's there. Like there's a lot of guys like that. Like Prado, like so JC just does nothing but hit. Um, yeah, I think the future's bright. Like I know a lot of people are worried about like, oh, we wasted Goldie or not. And yeah, maybe we'll hopefully we can still win with them, but it's not the end of the world, Like once they're done and they have kind of passed their prime and they're falling off a little bit, like that's not it. There's a lot to look forward to in Cards Nation between there's a lot like I know we're not the highest ranked system. Don't get me wrong, but like if you watch these
but I
guys,
think we're the most I really underrated system though, because there's not a lot of high end talent, but there's a lot of really solid guys in our system. Like I could
there's
see
a lot of major future major leaguers, a
100%.
lot of them, a lot of guys that would play on a lot of teams. Um, may not be a superstar, but they would be there. They'd be contributors. Any
No,
last
that's the
thoughts?
biggest thing is just making sure. Yeah, great. Last thought is just looking forward. What are you really looking to see from Tink Hence to get to the major leagues before the end of the year? If that's is that a goal for you? Is that are you looking more for 2025? That's the biggest thing is who are you looking forward to make an impact in the majors this year is probably a better way to word that.
Tink Hence is someone I had projected to like when the rosters expanded, like August, September. This is a guy I expected to be there anyway, but he is pushing hard to make it like sooner. And just keep doing what he's doing right now. He's gonna be there and he's gonna like as opposed to maybe like what they were gonna like have bring him in as maybe like a high leverage late inning reliever where he could throw 98, 99, 100 and he can let it eat. Uh
It's
depending on
two awesome pitches, so you
what's
could do
going on
that.
with like yeah, with like a Mats or like uh I don't know, hopefully he's not hurt. Um this is a guy I could see bringing up like around the deadline and just like seeing what they have, because what else can he do besides 8 innings and not give up runs? Like
Dominate.
he's doing, and he's
Right.
striking guys out, and he's not walking people. He's locating better. But that was the thing last year is he wasn't locating. He was walking so many batters. Well, he's fixed that so far. Like, hey man, you didn't want me to walk people. All right, I'm not walking people. I'm still gonna strike them out, but I'm not gonna walk them anymore. What else do you want?
People at
Just
the game today were talking about his start yesterday. So like there's buzz in the air in the state, even in the minor league stadium, just talking about how impressive he was. So like
giving
he's
up like two
looking
hits on the
good.
season. He pitched five no hit the other day, and he pitched five more, like one or two hit, one run, walked one person so far. He's struck out double digit. That's what you want. That's what you're looking for. Like we always talk about, like if
Exactly.
we don't have a high end starter. We don't have a high end starter. We can't develop pitchers. Like this is the guy. This is the guy that Cards Nation needs to be excited about. He's got
Right.
all
And I'll point out
all
too,
the
his pitches
talent.
were in the 80s on both those starts too. So like once he gets to the majors, we might need to push him to 90 or 100 pitches. Like you might be able to push to 6 or 7, but for a lot of these guys, especially the guys in Double A around that age, they're pulling him after 5 almost no matter what. It just seems like
Yeah,
if they get to 80
it's
pitches
all
in that, it's no matter what they're at after 5.
100%. That's what we're doing with Mats right now in the majors. We're just building them up. He could go more, but you don't want to risk it. And
Right.
it's exactly what they're doing with Hence.
Right. Exactly.
He's so good right now, and he's like so highly projectable, and he's like got so much talent that you don't want to risk overthrowing him. And it's not that he can't do it. It's that the farm is like, hey man, we don't want to push you. This is just the minors. This we want to win.
100%. I just know a
You're
lot of times
you're a
I'll
few, you're a
go ahead. Sorry
future
about that.
major leaguer. We don't want to risk it.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
that's exactly what I was gonna say. So that's all I really got.
yeah,
You have anything else you want to
I mean the guys, I guess three quick names most excited about for Cards Nation future. Tink Hence, obviously. We talked a lot about him. I think he's going to be an ace. I think he's going to be an ace. I'm going to say right here and how he's going to be an ace. Like there's not many aces in baseball, like depending on how you view the term. To me personally, I don't think an ace is just the number one at any team. I think there's maybe
No, there's
five,
only so many in the league.
I think there's
Yeah.
only 5 to 6 aces in baseball. I think he's going to be an ace. Chase Davis, he's getting the bat to ball skills up. That was the big thing for him last year. High K rate. He was missing a lot of swings. He's not right now. Supreme talent. He's a middle order bat. That's another guy I want to highlight. And then you're a big fan of Cho. I love Cho also.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
about to say that.
those are
Yeah.
like my three guys. I think Cho's going to be maybe a year behind Chase Davis, but these are the guys that Cards Nation needs to be excited about, and I'm really looking forward to making an impact in the next couple of years. What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I'll throw three at you real quick too. My first one's obviously Tekoah Roby. Uh, I'll be honest with you, I don't see eighth. I think he's number one for a lot of teams, but for me, he's more of a 2-3 guy, but a really high level 2-3. So a legit dude. The other one's Woven Tro. We kind of already touched on that. The dude hits the ball 150, 160 miles an hour as like a 19-year-old. I mean, that's
Oh, his
that's
swing
what's
is beautiful too.
crazy.
It's beautiful, man. Like if I were
Yeah,
to
it's
like,
one of the prettiest swings.
it looks much better than our men's softball league. So I'll tell you that much.
And then the last one I would touch on, I didn't mention, we just drafted him last year, Zach Levinson. Uh, Last year, first taste of Pro Bowl, 6 home runs, 22 RBIs. So far this year, he's already hitting 333 with 867 OPS. A lot of raw talent. That's I would look for him to make probably a pretty big jump from 22 to 12 to 8 by the end of the year. I think he has a lot of carrying tools on him, especially that power. So I think we saw a little bit of him in spring training. If I'm not forgetting.
Yeah, you're right. There's so many guys right now that are like that you can project, and like there's a lot to be excited about. Lots of high end talent, I believe. Lots of raw talent, I guess is the better way to say, because a lot of these guys like a Cho, for example, don't really have the results yet. But if you look at the process and you look at the underlying metrics, these are guys that you're like, man, they could really be something. So, um, I guess that's it for prospects after midnight. Yeah, it's a late night show. We appreciate you guys watching. If there's any prospects you want us to touch on next time, feel free to comment, leave a message. We're in the Bleacher Report community all the time, so just feel free to message us. Any last thoughts?
We've really covered most everything. Just keep looking for Tink Hence to just keep dominating because that's our pretty much our one carrying prospect in our system right now.
Yeah, that's the guy. He's going to be up this year, 100%. Whether it's going to be as a starter or a late in reliever, it's to be seen. But he will make an impact on the Cardinals in 2024. Um,
Agreed.
yep. Well, thanks for watching. I know
Awesome.
this was a Trevorless episode, so hopefully you guys still enjoy it. Love you all, guys. Have a good night.